Good morning and welcome to today's New York City Council hearing for the Committee for Mental Health, Disabilities, and Addiction. At this time, please silence all electronic devices. No one may approach the dais at any time during today's hearing. Chair, you may begin.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us here today, bright and early on a Monday morning. My name is Linda Lee, Chair of the Committee on Mental Health, Disabilities, and Addictions, and I would like to begin by thanking all of us for being here, joining all of us today. And before we begin, I would like to note that we are joined by Council Members Marmorato, Lewis, Mealy, and today our committee is holding a hearing on 4 pieces of legislation related to youth mental health, which is the focus of the next stop on the Council's mental health roadmap. First bill is Intro number 986, sponsored by Councilmember Rita Joseph, which would establish a pilot program to involve mental health professionals and professional candidates in student wellness clubs in middle school, public middle and high schools. Intro 989, sponsored by myself, would require the creation of student wellness club toolkits. These toolkits, which must be distributed to all New York City public school students, would be designed to provide students with a comprehensive overview of how to start a student wellness club at their school, including the approval process as well as suggestions for curriculums and peer-led activities. The toolkits would allow students to personalize their clubs in a way that works best for them and their fellow students. Intro number 996, sponsored by Councilmember Althea Stevens, would require the creation of a peer-to-peer mental health training program to be offered in New York City public schools. And intro number 1103, sponsored by Deputy Speaker Diana Ayala, would require community outreach by the Health Department regarding the availability of mental health counseling in response to violent and traumatic incidents. We believe these bills are a crucial first step in tackling the youth mental health crisis, and the majority of the bills involve implementing peer-led mental health support services into our public schools. Schools offer a unique opportunity to address the mental health and wellness of New York City youth. According to American Psychological Association, the degree to which youth and young people feel that adults and peers at school care about them and are invested in their success was found to be a key contributor to their mental health. One of the goals of all of these bills is to send a message not only to our youth, but also to school administrators, teachers, school staff, and community members that we hear their concerns and will do whatever it is in the Council's power to address this crisis by first and foremost listening to the youth themselves and investing in their ability to succeed. We are excited to receive feedback on the legislation and learn more about how the bills can help address this ongoing crisis. I want to thank the administration, advocates, students, providers, and individuals with lived experience who have taken the time to join us today, and we look forward to hearing from you. And, as I was mentioning to a few of you earlier, I really look forward to feedback and genuine feedback on the concerns or any challenges you may think will impede the implementation. Suggestions to improve it would be awesome. And I'm a huge supporter of anything that is peer-led, especially when it comes to youth. And this was something that we heard over and over again because we had several roundtable conversations with youth as we drafted these bills and also as we move forward with the youth mental health phase of the roadmap. And so I think it's important to hear from providers, from you all as ones who would have to be implementing this, as well as from the youth. And so hopefully it will result in services that we know will really help out our students and meet them where they are, especially in the school setting. So I just want to thank the committee staff who worked to prepare this hearing, as well as my own staff. And I will now turn it over to the sponsors of the bill. Okay, that's myself because Rita's not here. Sorry, I'm just reading the script. This is where I have to get off script. Okay, so Chair Joseph actually wanted to be here, but is stuck in really bad traffic. So she asked me to go ahead and read her statement on her bill, which is Introduction 986. So bear with me as I just read her statement. Chairperson Lee and colleagues on the council, I'm thrilled that my bill, Intro 986, is being heard in today's hearing. Intro 986 relates to a pilot program aimed at involving mental health professionals and professional candidates in student wellness clubs in public middle and high schools. This bill would require the Commissioner of Health and Mental Hygiene to develop a 2-year pilot program to engage mental health professionals and professional candidates in these wellness clubs. The Commissioner would make every effort to recruit mental health professionals for voluntary participation and form partnerships with universities to recruit mental health professional candidates. These professionals and candidates would facilitate student discussions and workshops on various mental health topics. The bill also calls for the Commissioner to work closely with the Chancellor of New York City Public Schools to establish the program within these clubs. Additionally, the Commissioner, in coordination with the Chancellor, would be required to submit a report. Oh, I just lost my place, sorry. Hold on. Report on the program to the Mayor and the Speaker of the Council and make it publicly available online. This initiative provides a meaningful opportunity to address the critical need for mental health services for our students. By leveraging existing resources, our mental health professionals and professional candidates, we can make a significant impact on student wellness. I look forward to hearing the agency's feedback on the bill and continuing to refine this important initiative. Thank you to everyone who has contributed to bringing this bill to this stage. Okay. So I will now turn it over to Committee Counsel to administer the oath.
Now, in accordance with the rules of the Council, I would administer the affirmation to the witnesses from the mayoral administration. Please raise your right hand. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this committee and to respond honestly to council members' questions? I do. Thank you. Prior to delivering your testimony, please state your name and title for the record, and you may begin when ready.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you can move it a little bit closer.
Sure. Let me know if you can hear me now. Okay. So, good morning, Chair Lee and members of the Committee on Mental Health, Disabilities, and Addiction. I'm sorry that Councilwoman Joseph is stuck in traffic. My name is Dr. Erica Lynn Smith, and I'm the director of the School Mental Health Program, which we call SMH, within the Office of School Health, which we call OSH. OSH is a joint office in New York City Public Schools and the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene. We thank you for the opportunity to discuss introductions 986, 989, and 996 regarding supports around student wellness. I'm joined today by Marnie Davidoff, Assistant Commissioner for the Bureau of Children, Youth, and Families, or SIF, at the Health Department, and Beverly Logan, Executive Director of Counseling Supports, and Amalia Orman, Director of Student Voice from the Office of Safety and Youth Development at New York City Public Schools, or OSID. I'm also joined by my colleagues Jamie Nichols, Assistant Commissioner for the Bureau of Mental Health at the Health Department, who will be addressing Introduction 1103 in her testimony. We do greatly appreciate your continued partnership in supporting our students, families, and schools. Before I discuss the proposed legislation, I want to provide a landscape of what school mental health programming looks like today across New York City Public Schools. The Office of School Health, School Mental Health Program, works with schools in a variety of ways. We partner with multiple offices at New York City Public Schools at the local, district, and central level and share our mental health expertise to design and implement services that meet the unique needs of each school. Complementing the work that New York City Public Schools has done with over 5,000 school social workers, SMH works closely with external partners to bring clinical mental health to schools. We work directly with 548 schools and oversee external mental health providers delivering services on site. We oversee the contracting, operations, and delivery of mental health services. We assist providers in schools in translating policies that impact delivery of mental health services, including the fiscal sustainability of those partnerships. We are involved in the establishment and licensure process for Article 31 clinics in partnership with our children, youth, and family colleagues in mental hygiene and our New York State partners in the Office of Mental Health. There are over 200 Article 31 clinics serving over 150,000 students, with more pending approval. Once approved, these clinics will serve thousands of additional students. Mental health services are offered through Article 31 clinics or community-based organizations, CBOs, that employ mental health professionals licensed to address treatment and supportive needs. Clinics provide traditional outpatient mental health services in schools. These clinics provide treatment and provide a range of individual, group, and family clinical interventions. Services are designed to address different needs across 3 tiers of services: targeted, selective, and universal. Targeted services meet the needs of students that have a diagnosable mental health disorder that require intensive and specialized interventions and supports. Selective services are intended for students that may be presenting or at risk of developing symptoms associated with mental health diagnosis. Many of these services are preventive and reduce the risk of development of a diagnosable mental health disorder. They can be provided alone or function as a support to other interventions from the other tiers. Services can include groups to learn how to regulate emotions or individual supportive counseling. Universal services are more generalized, are provided school-wide, and can include services like presentations and professional development for teachers. Providing mental health services in schools presents both challenges and opportunities. SMH emphasizes the need for a comprehensive approach that includes all 3 service tiers to best support students' mental health. Thank you. As I mentioned earlier, we work hand in hand with the Health Department's Division of Mental Hygiene's Bureau of Children, Youth, and Families, and the New York City Public Schools Office of Safety and Youth Development. SIF and OSH collaborate closely on processes involved in operating a licensed mental health clinic in a school. Providers seeking state licensure to open a school-based health clinic require a letter of support from the local government. While SIF reviews the provider's application, OSH assesses the school's need and readiness for a satellite clinic and provides implementation support in the delivery of on-site services. We also partner with the Office of Safety and Youth Development in an advisory capacity and assist in furthering their work in the areas of crisis prevention and intervention and suicide prevention. In schools we work in, we partner with all New York City Public Schools supportive staff, including school social workers and guidance counselors. I will now turn to each of the bills, except Introduction 1103, which Assistant Commissioner Jamie Nichols will address. Overall, we appreciate the Council's interest in the topic of wellness and the values of bringing student voice to the conversation. We look forward to having further discussions on how to best accomplish this goal. Introduction 989 would require the Health Department to create a student wellness club toolkit and make it available to New York City public middle and high schools. The Health Department is already tasked with creating materials for a variety of health topics for the public. We can advise on content for the development of a toolkit, and we look forward to having a conversation with Council on how to best accomplish this goal. New York City Public Schools could distribute the toolkits as they see fit for their school communities. Introduction 986 proposes a pilot program to involve mental health professionals in student wellness clubs in middle and high schools. The Health Department provides oversight and expertise in clinical mental health supports in schools, so we can speak to the clinical workforce aspect of the bill. Relying on a volunteer workforce to fulfill a mandate could pose significant challenges to implementation and raises issues related to safety and fair compensation. Student clubs are organized on a school-by-school basis and reflect the unique interests of the student body and staff's capacity to organize and oversee these activities. However, OSH has begun conversations with organizations that run student wellness clubs with a mental health focus. These organizations are currently going through our standard processes to ensure school student safety and privacy. These are evidence-based models that assist schools and students in establishing clubs that promote education and destigmatization, I can't say that word, destigmatization of mental health topics in a manner appropriate to students. We are at the beginning stages of small pilots to understand how these models work in New York City Public Schools, and we look forward to sharing the outcomes of these pilots at a later time. I will now speak to Introduction 996, which would require the Health Department to develop and offer a peer-to-peer mental health training program in schools and New York City Public Schools to distribute information to students on such programs. Peer-to-peer support programs should complement rather than substitute for clinical services provided by trained mental health professionals. The Health Department understands the value of peer support programs for youth mental health as part of a comprehensive approach. New York City Public Schools is seeing excitement from students who want to do the work because they understand the importance of their own mental health and engaging with fellow students. There are two exciting conversations about peer-to-peer programs happening. First, the 2023-24 Chancellor's Student Advisory Committee, or CSAC, in partnership with New York City Public School staff, recommend the development of peer-to-peer programs facilitated by a school counselor or mental health professional. We look forward to, secondly, teen mental health first aid training that teaches teens to listen without judgment to their peers and seek adult support when needed are part of the conversation. We look forward to speaking with council to determine ways forward for student proposals like this to come to fruition, ways to support promising peer-to-peer programs currently in pilot phases through processes in which students feel seen and heard. The Office of School Health, the Health Department, and New York City Public Schools are committed to supporting the mental health and well-being of our students. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today. We look forward to collaborating with the council and New York City Public Schools to strengthen youth and mental health initiatives. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. And before we move on to Assistant Commissioner, we want to just recognize Councilmember Abreu. And then, sorry, go ahead.
Good morning, Chair Lee and members of the committee. I'm Jamie Neckles, Assistant Commissioner for the Bureau of Mental Health at the New York City Department of Health and Mental Hygiene. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today on Introduction 1103 of 2024. Proposed legislation regarding outreach following violent and traumatic events. Introduction 1103 was introduced on November 13th. We've reviewed it, but have had little time to discuss with our agency partners. That said, we have some concerns regarding the legislation. We understand that violent and traumatic events take a serious emotional and physical toll on individuals and communities. The Health Department supports a wide array of mental health services: 988, mobile crisis teams, youth mental health services in schools, teen space, and much more. The Health Department is constantly working behind the scenes to better understand community needs and tailor our response system. Generally, we have concerns about implementing a one-size-fits-all response to traumatic events. Each person and situation is unique. We recommend an approach that offers choice and control to the person who experienced the trauma. This could be done through a 988 brochure or a palm card that encourages New Yorkers to call, text, or chat NYC 988 counselors or peer support specialists if they need someone to talk to following a traumatic event. NYC 988 is available via talk, text, and chat any time of day, any day of the year. 988 counselors and peers are trained to listen, provide emotional support, and help to identify the next best step for each unique situation. For many people, confidential telephonic support feels safe and is a convenient way to cope with their distress. They can talk, text, or chat as long as they want and reach back out as needed whenever they want. In discussion with a 988 counselor, the person can be connected to the full array of mental health services available in our city. Some people may benefit from in-person de-escalation by a mobile crisis team that can respond within a few hours citywide. Still, others may prefer a referral to a support group or mental health clinic in their neighborhood. Every situation is unique. People have different preferences, so we provide options. The Health Department is deeply committed to supporting the mental health of New Yorkers. We recommend a person-centered, trauma-informed approach to mental health care that offers people choices. The most effective way to do that is to encourage people to contact a 988 counselor or peer support specialist when they want to and how they want to. In conversation with NYC 988, they can share their story, be heard, learn coping skills, and be connected to the services that meet their needs and preferences. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing your testimony. Oh, and we've been joined by Councilmember Caban. Okay, so I'm just gonna dive right in. I'm just trying to figure out the best way to do this. Maybe I'll just go in order of the bill numbers. So regarding Intro 986, which is Councilmember Rita Joseph's bill, quick question. So I just want to make sure before I ask questions that I have the numbers correct. So, because last I heard from DOE and DOHMH, I think at some point last year, and I remember the reason why I remember this is because it stuck out to me so much, because at one hearing we had early on in the year, I think there were about few hundred, 300, 400 schools that had social workers, and then the next time we had our hearing, I remember they were saying that all the schools had social workers, whether it's part-time or full-time. So I just wanted to make sure, is that still the case or no?
So I'll let my colleague speak to the school social worker, and then I think what you're asking is about mental health external social workers that are in schools as well.
I think both, right? Because I know.
Right. So
yeah. Okay.
She can.
Perfect.
Yes.
Okay.
Good morning, Council Lee. I'm
Hi.
Dr. Logan. I'm the Executive Director for Counseling Supports for New York City Public Schools, Office of Safety Youth Development. So currently, between school counselors and social workers, we have about 5,200. Every student has access to a school counselor, a social worker, a mental health clinic, through external partner or clinics that are within their building.
Okay. Perfect. And according to this, we have 548 schools, work directly with 548 schools, oversee any mental health providers delivering services on site. Okay, so for the 548 schools, just to clarify, are those the ones that have not just the Article 31s, but if you could differentiate, because I know that there's school-based mental health clinics, which are run by the Article 31 providers, and then there's just schools with either social workers or counselors there. So is the 548 a combination of those? Sorry.
So that's okay.
Yeah.
So it's complicated. So that's absolutely fine. Ask as many questions as you need.
Good.
So the 548 schools are schools that have someone from my program, School Mental Health,
Got it.
on site. And it's a capacity issue. There's 1,800 schools. We already have the capacity to serve 548, and we provide implementation support in those schools, which means we work with external mental health providers and community-based organizations, which can also provide mental health services on site in school. I want to make the distinction between what school social workers and guidance counselors do versus
Yep.
clinical social workers on site within an agency that comes on site into a school. And that includes Article 31s and other mental health provider CBOs.
Nice. Okay. Let me just see here. And then, so the how many total not elementary, how many total public schools are there again? It's 1,000, how many?
So in districts, well, do you want to talk about we're in districts 1 through 32.
Okay.
And there's approximately 1,540-ish,
1,500, okay, that's what I thought.
but I
Okay.
can get the exact number to you.
Okay.
And then there's approximately 1,800 public schools, which includes 79s, 84s,
Okay.
and 75s.
Okay, awesome. No, I just wanted to make sure, because I remember it was definitely less than 2,000, somewhere above 1,500, so that's why I wanted to
It's kind of a
just get-
moving target sometimes.
Okay. Okay. So I guess I hear you in terms of what the challenges would be for implementation of 986, but I guess because it is a pilot project that the bill's proposing, would it be possible to have, for example, start off with the schools that do have the school-based mental health clinics? Or do you think a better assessment would be to have a mixture of both to try to see how it would work in schools also with the non-Article 31 clinics?
I think, we're always working with our New York City Public Schools and CBO partners to provide clinical mental health supports to schools. I think we would need to have further conversations about implementation, because implementation is kind of a broad category, and pilots hopefully lead to, rollouts of larger programming for schools. I don't know that I can say at this moment if it would be better to have some of our pilots are only 2 schools, so I don't know that I can speak to that off the cuff.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious to hear from your perspective, because I'm sure you've had to implement some of these types of pilot projects before. So is it better to have one in each borough, for example? Is it better to have look at the zip codes with higher needs and see where those schools fall with the Article 31 school-based clinics? And I'd be curious to hear if the bill were to pass, like just recommendations from you all on how best to look at the pilot project, because I think what we keep hearing over and over again from not just the providers but also the students is how important it is to have the wellness clubs. And also, not that there has to be per se, it really is almost like you mentioned in the testimony, these programs hopefully are meant to complement what's already there. And so the way I see this is that the more we can try to provide different spaces where mental health issues may arise and could be detected, and then send them to the proper, if they need further help, or if they don't, that's fine either way. But, it's just another sort of catch, way to catch the folks from slipping through the cracks. And so, I don't know. I mean, obviously I know that it's going to be an ongoing conversation, but those are the things that I would love to hear from you all on, is how you would see it as being more successful. I personally think that it'd be great if we could have at least one in every borough, because I know that sometimes certain boroughs get neglected, and it's not always the high need zip codes, perhaps because students travel to different schools all over the city, as well as the fact that mental health doesn't discriminate, right? Every student suffers from it, no matter where you're coming from. So I just wanted to point those things out. But
and I appreciate that, Chair Lee, absolutely, and that's why it's very important in the schools that we have managers, those are the schools that have the longest lasting relationships with providers, whether they're Article 31 clinics or others, because we can sort of look at the system of the school and understand the aspects that need to either be built up before bringing something into a school, or help the school understand what they're getting. So
and let me take 2 steps back, because this may already be in existence, just maybe not formally in this fashion. But are there schools currently that you have where students, let's just say there's a social worker, mental health professional already located in the school, and students actually go to the principal or administrators and say, hey, we want to start this wellness club? Like, have there been incidences of that? And maybe we could use that also as a model for this type of pilot project.
So I invite my colleague from New York City Public Schools, Amalia Orman, and she speaks so wonderfully about student voice, to sort of respond to that.
I would think the best ones are student-driven and led, so.
Yes. No, and they come up with such great ideas. We have implemented other programs that they have come up with, so.
Okay. Perfect.
Sorry, before you begin, I just need to swear you in.
Sure.
Please raise your right hand. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this committee, and to respond honestly to council member questions?
I do.
Thank you. You may begin.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Amalia Orman, and I'm the Student Voice Manager at New York City Public Schools, Office of Safety and Youth Development. And I love your question about, can we model some pilots after young people raising this idea of having a wellness club at their school. In my experience, listening to youth, this does happen frequently, especially during COVID and post-COVID. Actually, I run also, so I have this role as Student Voice Manager, and I listen to students all the time, but I also run a program specifically called the Chancellor's Student Advisory Council. A couple of years ago, we made a handout called How to Start a Youth-Led Mental Health Initiative at Your School, because this was happening a lot, and I do think it's a great model when you can back young people's ideas and form initiatives that way. So yes, this has been happening.
And just really quickly, so, because I know the bill is talking about involving mental health professionals in those clubs, and so are they currently there now, or are they just purely student-led?
I don't know that I could answer that for certain, but just anecdotally, I think that young people gravitate towards supportive adults in their school that may or may not have a clinical association, might be a SAPIS counselor, might be a guidance counselor, but I would say that young people also advocate for more mental health professionals in their school.
Nice. Okay, great. And actually, that kind of segues a little bit into the bill that we have that I'm proposing about the toolkits, because have you, in your experience working with some of these peer-led groups that may exist in the toolkits that you have now, could you kind of go through what currently exists in the materials that you're handing out, and then also additionally what could be added that you think is lacking that maybe could use improvement?
There are two models that we're looking at in pilot programs that have content that we haven't explicitly developed, and we are looking at them. So I can't report out, but I'm happy to bring those models and at a further time for you to review. I think that's the purpose of why we're piloting them. They're both evidence-based practices used in other districts. So they, have a cadre of folks who've worked on them, and they're in the process of going through IRB and all of the processes and protocols to protect student information.
Okay, nice. Thank you. And then, sorry, I'm just jumping around a little bit, but for Intro 996, which is Councilmember Stevens' bill, to develop and offer peer-to-peer mental health training programs in schools, have you, I'm sorry, I think I missed this during the testimony, but did you say that you have the student-led mental health first aid trainings?
Yeah, so it's similar to the adult mental health first aid that was sponsored a while ago. It's still, we have an organization that received a SAMHSA grant that will provide training for both, but teen mental health first aid has just been released and developed using the same principles, which is basically teaching teens on how to listen with no judgment, and also where to go should needed further clinical mental health services.
Okay. And then how are the students informed about the programs and if they want to take that training or if they want to participate in other student-led programs?
We haven't done formal information and because it literally just came out.
Got it. Okay.
So we would have to talk to our New York City Public School colleagues around what that would look like.
Okay, and how are you, because I'd love to know, are you able to speak to how's that data being collected since it's a new program?
I think, again, I don't have data around it. We would know, it's a super small initiative right now. Our office, keeps track of who attends, but that's usually, or the numbers, very aggregate numbers on who would attend adult mental health first aid. We don't collect any identifying information about that. Again, we would have to speak, in more detail about what would be appropriate in terms of implementation and privacy around with our colleagues and with City Council.
Okay, because I think on the data collection piece also, I'd like to see if you could let us know what metrics you are using to also then later evaluate if it was successful or not, which I guess go hand in hand, but.
Successful is kind of I try to stay away from the word successful and really more about, was there uptake or not? It's subjective, right?
No, yeah.
But so was there uptake or not? So when we work with providers to provide services in schools, we collect utilization data. So there's no PHI, there's no treatment data, we really are involved with ensuring that, very colloquially, if we're selling something and they're not buying it, then it doesn't matter. It can be the best intervention in the world. So we collect, number of services provided, number of attendees, and that's really it. In terms of whenever we partner with.
And then is there any feedback? Because I agree, I think in terms of maybe effective is a better word. I don't know what the right word is, but to your point, I think the utilization piece is really important because because then if the numbers are low and students are not utilizing these services, then is it a question of that they don't know that it's there? Is it a question that, you know, they don't know about the trainings or haven't been informed enough? Or is it that they're just not interested, or maybe this is not the right space or the, you know, medium for it? I don't know.
Right, and I've seen many programs come and go. I've been working in this field since 9/11, actually in a school. And, you know, I caution that implementation is often neglected, and it's so important because a lot of times what happens is when you reflect on something that quote unquote didn't work, it's because of the implementation support wasn't there.
Right.
Not that it's not an effective program, but again, implementation is about on the ground and exactly what you're mentioning. Are people utilizing the service? And is it appropriate to the population it intends to serve?
Right. And I guess in that same vein, I'd be wondering what DOH, MH, and DOE's sort of outreach processes, given the different languages, cultural, you know, nuances, and the fact that a lot of folks are simply just not going to talk about this no matter what. And so how do we do the outreach?
So in the 548 schools
Yeah.
that we're in, I can speak to that because we have someone on site in those schools. The teams that I have, my colleagues that are in schools have a caseload of 15 schools. They know their schools, they know their principals, they know the providers that are on site, and we can look at using that data if there's blips. And what I mean by a blip is if there aren't any referrals, we can speak both to the DOE, or I'm sorry, New York City Public Schools staff who are on site, and we can also speak to the providers and really come together to really understand if there's not if the referral process is working, and that's what really sustains programming. Having that sort of conduit through which both parties can come and talk about their concerns or things that aren't working, and then we can fix it. And so it's very important to any implementation process.
Okay. We've been joined by Councilmember Joseph. Hopefully I did your statement justice by reading it, but and if you have questions, just let us know if you want to ask. Okay. Okay, so let me just ask a couple more questions, then I'll hand it off to colleagues to also ask, and then we can do other rounds if necessary. But to the 1103 bill, I actually think, and maybe this is just the way I'm reading it, so I totally agree with all the things you're doing with the 988 and letting folks know through, oh my gosh, I'm blanking, the online web text. Through the Notify NYC? No, what is it? TeenSpace, I'm sorry, yes, TeenSpace, sorry, I had a brain lapse for a second. Yeah, so TeenSpace, which are all really good things that I know that the city has been trying to work on and implement. I think the bill, though, to my question also, was sort of the step before that happens. So I think once we've identified that someone does need further help after a traumatic event, then, you know, I do believe that you all are doing a good job in notifying them about all the services, but I guess my question is more, how does it get reported, or how do we take that data in the step before, like low? So let's just say there's an actual, I don't know, I'm just making something up, but there's an incident or a report through either ACS or through a police report where there was clearly something traumatic that happened in someone's home, right? Then how does that data get translated to then, or handed off to you all, and how does it get sort of recorded is, I guess, my question, or reported?
So I think I understand your question, and I would say that there is no reporting system for traumatic events. Sadly, there's substantial amounts of trauma that occur, and so we take a universal approach by offering everybody this very simple call to action, 988, rather than starting with a report of trauma. Assume that there is trauma occurring in our city, and offering people a convenient way to reach out whenever they want. So not a report-based system. We're proposing just a universal access
Okay, and then is there, but yeah, so I guess my question, if I could, thank you for helping me clarify my thoughts, because I don't always think clearly. But how do we, like, is DOHMH proactively, like, let's just say there's a shooting that happens in the community or in a school, or something that has an impact in the local community. Is DOHMH or any agency or DOE, are you all actively going to the families of those communities to say, hey, by the way, these services are available to everyone? Is there a way to streamline that or to, better communicate that? I don't know.
So Councilwoman Lee, if an event occurs in the neighborhood or the home and it's reported to the school, we on the DOE, on New York City Public Schools side, have a crisis support protocol in place. Usually is if the family notifies the principal, we reach out to the family and then we figure out what supports are needed. We do reach out to our DOHMH partners if there's a on-site clinic within the school or for referrals outside to connect with the families. We also have a very good partnership with Preventive Services through ACS. So it's another avenue that where we support families in that manner.
And I can add a couple more points to that. Beyond the school-based work, the health department has two programs that address violence and our mental health response. The first, hospital-based violence intervention program, reduces or aims to reduce the risk of readmission for violent injuries among patients who are admitted to hospitals following non-fatal assaults. And so this is a bedside conflict mediation to follow up to a violent event. And secondly, we have a strong messenger project which provides mental health support to the city's largest violence response issue, the Cure Violence program. So we provide mental health support to the Cure Violence Credible Messengers.
Okay. And then, right, so that's good. And then do you all work with other providers in the community that are non-school based, just to sort of, because I would imagine something that's more traumatic that happens community-wide, is there, I guess, a natural network of people that you reach out to, whether it's nonprofit organizations? Because I would think with the Cure Violence stuff, there's a lot of other partners that you probably work with. And then just if you could sort of discuss what the partnership looks like, I guess, between DOHMH and NYPD, for example. Is there reporting that they all reach out to you on, for example, once something like this happens in the community, and then does that get translated into outreach? Or I guess I'm just trying to figure out in terms of the flow of communication, how that works when incidences like that happen.
Sure, so the health department, we respond to requests for joint operations with other city agencies to provide the health strategy and outreach with community members and using CBOs to sort of leverage our reach. I'll leave it at that. I think, does that answer your question? I want to pause for a moment.
Oh, no, yeah, I guess, but because I know that there's joint task force, forces within the administration, for example, but I guess I'm just wondering in real time, right? If there's an incident that happens in the community, how does that flow of communication usually work, and how quick is the response usually?
So the police department is not making referrals to the health department at this point. There will be joint operations when a sort of a larger community level issue is needed. I think what we're proposing here is using brochures and palm cards to give people the choice to reach out when they want to. Not everybody wants somebody knocking on their door at a given time frame subsequent to a traumatic event, right? People process these things differently, and we want to give them control over the situation.
Yeah, because they may see the palm card at that moment and say, this is not for me, and then a month or a week later realize that they want to reach out to somebody. And I guess my question is, how do we just make sure that they have that in their hand or have that knowledge in their hand? Because, in that moment, they're probably not even thinking about it, but, when it sort of settles, how do we make sure that they have access to those services? So, okay. Councilmember Joseph, do you have questions you wanted to ask on your bill? Okay. Sorry. Or, okay.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Just want to shout out the crisis department. When we call, you always show up at schools to make sure you're supporting our students. And I know recently we had a tragedy in one of our schools and you showed up, and thank you for embracing that young man who needed it more than ever. Thank you for that. I have a couple of questions around teen space, right? I know parents have been complaining, and I know advocates have as well, around privacy issues. How are we addressing that privacy issue around teen space?
I invite our colleague, Assistant Commissioner Marnie Davidoff, to answer questions around teen space.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, and also we've been joined by Councilmember Hanif on Zoom.
Hi, I just need to administer the oath. Please raise your right hand. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this committee, and to respond honestly to council members' questions?
I do.
All right, you may begin.
Hi, I'm Marnie Davidoff. I'm the Assistant Commissioner for the Bureau of Children, Youth, and Families at the Health Department. And we take privacy concerns extremely seriously, and we are in the process of having conversations with our provider partner to take a look at their systems and follow up on concerns that have been raised. So we are in the process of doing that right now.
But there's also trackers, right? For example, they provide the free mental health, but it also allow their personal information. So where does that personal information currently live?
I'm so sorry. Can you repeat the question? Where does their
Where does the is there any type of ad trackers, cookies on this ad that would track the New York City students?
We are looking into this right now to ensure that all of the privacy concerns are as secure as they are expected to be. So we're in the process of looking at this.
When did you become aware that privacy was an issue with this app?
We received some outreach by advocates. I'm sorry, I don't remember the exact date of the concerns raised. I'd be happy to get back to you on that.
There was a letter sent on September 10th to the mayor's office, to DOE Chancellor, to DOHMH, and the commissioner, raising this concern. Mm-hmm. So now we're in November. Where are we?
Where are we?
Yep, and making sure that if my child decides to use that app, that his information will not be floating out there on different spaces. I have a 14-year-old. I wouldn't want his information floating out there in the clouds. So I'm sure the concern is not only mine, mm-hmm. It's the concern of all New York City parents.
Yes, I understand, and our contract explicitly requires student information to be maintained privately and not to be shared. And we have been working extensively with our provider partner to ensure that that is being enforced and implemented as we'd expect it to
What's
be.
the timeline on that?
I can't give you an exact timeline right now. I'd be happy to get back to you.
Able to write the committee and give them the information? See, what I'm asking is I'm not asking for Councilmember Joseph. I'm asking for every single parent across this city that would use this app. Their child's privacy is at risk. And there's an ad tracker, and I'm sure you're familiar with cookies. The minute they click on it, start tracking young people's information. What are we doing to protect the privacies of young people? I don't want to hear excuses. I want to hear plan. I want to hear what is going to happen.
Yes, Councilmember,
We can always have a separate hearing on this as well as the education chair and bring this even more forward so we can have answers. So I just want an answer today, because this is impacting every single person who has a child who has used Teen Space.
I understand. I'm also the parent of an adolescent. Completely understand your concerns. And I know that today we came prepared to speak to specifically the bills that are proposed. I am more than happy to provide a more detailed answer after today's hearing on the many steps the Health Department has been taking to ensure that students' privacy and youth's privacy broadly, because it's not really a student mental health initiative, but a youth mental health initiative, is held to our highest standards of privacy and protections. We are actively working on this in the moment, and I'm happy to provide more detailed information after today's hearing.
Chair Lee, would you allow that question to a follow-up in allowing you to send the answer to the committee, because this is very important to me, right? And I'm
Understand.
sure as a parent, it's as important as it is to you.
It certainly is.
Around my legislation, do you support the proposed legislation? Are we okay?
Yeah, I'm just looking, there's so many numbers, they're very confusing. So I appreciate just a moment. And that's for DOHMH to develop a pilot program to involve volunteer mental health professionals in student wellness clubs?
Correct, in public and middle school.
Yes. So we're always working with our New York City Public School partners and CBO partners to provide clinical mental health support in schools. So we are very able to speak to the clinical workforce aspect of the bill. And so we do have some concerns relying on a volunteer workforce to fulfill a mandate that could pose significant challenges to implementation, privacy, all of the things that you just mentioned. Obviously, you know, we want to be able to have further discussions about proper implementation to protect those aspects that would be involved with
Is there anything you think the bill should have moving forward? Should it be improved, clarified before we move forward? Is there anything?
I do, but I think that also requires us to sort of sit down, and I can't speak to implementation off the cuff.
Right.
And that would be irresponsible of me to do so. I think it really requires talking about resources, talking about roles in the schools, talking about, you know, what we really intend to do with wellness toolkits. And, you know, we really do emphasize that obviously, as you know, it's not a replacement for mental health services.
Correct.
It should be very well aligned with mental health services that are provided, and we need to make sure, especially since students are involved in those services, that we take the time to pilot anything that we do. Yes, I think further discussions are warranted.
Do you have any program or current initiative within the DOHMH that involves mental health professional engaging with young people in school settings?
Yes, many.
You have many.
Yeah, so we, School Mental Health, which is, I'm the director of that program. We work closely with our colleagues from New York City Public Schools in an advisory capacity. We oversee with our partners at Children, Youth, and Families the licensure of Article 31 clinics, as well as community-based organizations that provide mental health services. They might not be in Article 31, but they provide services that are you know, aligned very closely with mental health services that Article 31s provide. You know, I have staff who are in schools, in 548 of those schools. Capacity does not allow us to be in all the schools, but we ensure that whatever mental health services that are in those schools are of quality. We collect information around utilization. Traffic, unfortunately, I think you were delayed. I spoke a lot about that, but I'm happy to, you know, explain more about what they do in those schools.
Would an initiative like this complement your existing programming?
I think that assuming that we sit down and we have the appropriate conversations and that we are clear about the roles of, you know, what is included in something like this, pending those conversations, I would say that, you know, there actually are, we have a couple pilot programs around these peer-to-peer going on in schools. They're small. They're evidence-based programming, and happy to report out on what those look like once we get those answers.
One more? Just one quick question. What type of training or guideline would be necessary for mental health professionals and candidates to effectively lead discussions and workshops in wellness clubs?
So currently there is a system that we don't oversee as DOH, which is required for mental health professional candidates to get in vivo learning. And that's done through the university system, right? Any accredited program that graduates candidates for licensure must have an in vivo experience of a certain number of hours. I don't know about the other licenses. I can speak exclusively about social work because I had to do what we call a field placement.
Right.
So anyone who wants to sit for that exam has to have gone to an accredited university, and the universities have that system in place, and we wouldn't need to stand up another system for that. As they sit for their license, they are supervised by licensed clinical professionals according to their license.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. And next we will go to Councilmember, so we've been joined by Councilmember Botcher. And for questions, let's go to Councilmember Mamarato.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning. So I just wanted to clarify, what are the grade ranges for these type of programs? Is it going to be from a pre-K to 12th grade? I know you said public school, but are we going to go as early education, like the pre-K programs?
I need a little clarity on what program specifically you're talking about the peers, about the toolkit.
The toolkits, anything. All of these programs, are they going to be available to all of the grades from pre-K up to high school, or is it just public school and middle school?
So, like I said before, I think we have to have in-depth conversations about that. As far as I understand, the bills have been introduced for middle and high schools.
Okay.
We would have to put in, very detailed discussions about developmental ages in terms of ability for any kind of toolkit. As far as peer-to-peer, I think that's probably middle and high school. I would say high school, and mostly. But again, I think we would have to, not just, Dr. Erica Lynn Smith sitting at the table saying this. I think we need to pull in others who do this work more extensively.
Okay. Now, what role do you see for parents and guardians in the implementation and support of mental health initiatives within our schools?
I think that they're a vital part of any implementation of any mental health service. Again, I don't work with parent engagement in New York City Public Schools.
Okay.
Any work that is done with a child clinically, you have to have parent engagement, otherwise it doesn't work. So I can speak from that perspective. I can also say that, again, all of the providers that we work with get parent consent in order for their students to participate in services.
Okay. Now, I just want to kind of touch on like the safety and well-being of the children. So when you do have peer-to-peer or individual sessions, will these be recorded without
Absolutely
sound?
not.
Everything
so
will be
when we
visual?
talk about peer-to-peer, right, that's exactly what I'm talking about. I'm talking about exactly defining what it means to be peer-to-peer. Middle schools are 11-year-olds. That's not, that we can't really sort of substitute mental health clinical services through peer-to-peer work.
Okay.
Peer-to-peer work looks more like, if you know anything about adult mental health first aid. It doesn't teach people to be clinical mental health providers. What it does is that it helps educate individuals to understand what mental health is and is not, right? It doesn't train them to be clinicians. It doesn't train them to provide treatment. It creates awareness and mental hygiene around what the system looks like, how you seek help, and what peer-to-peer is intended to do is not replace clinicians at all. Anytime we talk to people who want to get into schools and work with students, we make sure that there is a component of having someone on site through the sponsoring of these types of clubs that is the adult who is either allied with mental health or is a mental health professional, to be able to guide students to listen without judgment to their peers, because adolescents developmentally rely on their peers more than they do adults. That's just nothing we can do about that. But we want peers to be able to guide their friends to the supports that they may need.
But these will be recorded. Anything like any interaction?
No.
There will not be visual recording?
There is no treatment. There is no treatment associated with this. This is not a treatment
Okay, and then when you do have individual sessions and it gets to a point where they do have
with a
therapy,
clinician.
a clinician, yes.
Sure.
Will it be recorded visually?
That depends on, obviously, any clinician is both by ethics and by HIPAA law, right? Protections are insured for privacy. If
No, I
that's
understand
where you're
HIPAA.
heading.
I understand HIPAA. I have a
And
healthcare background.
any recording that is done for purposes of the model, they receive consent from the parent and assent from the child who's participating in the service. It varies by provider. I can't speak to every.
But you don't visually record sessions when it's a closed-door session or private?
Me personally?
In the school, within the school system? No? You're acting like I'm like, like this isn't like a serious question.
No, it is a serious question. I just can't speak to every single school. What I can say is, I mean, New York City Public Schools, we know the state requires that any sessions that take place have to take place in a private space where no one can hear or see what is being discussed. I don't know of any recording that is taking place in any sessions. And if
I'm just speaking on the protection of children being
Yeah,
in
yeah.
a room privately with an
Of course,
adult. Whether
I-
there's consent or not consent, things can still happen, and that's what I'm just trying to touch on to see if you guys have
In terms of the
it.
schools that we're in, right, the 548, any provider, because we have managers in schools, if anything like that were to happen, we would know about it. And we ensure and we follow the state. That's why we
Not
have.
always,
No,
not always
I
know about it.
That's why we work with our partners in the state
Okay.
that have oversight in these
Yeah,
issues.
so you're talking about, sorry, just to clarify, because you're talking specifically about the Article 31s, which are licensed by the state. Or is that what you mean, or the
I
ones
just
that
think
are?
that if there's any kind of private session, I just want to know what the
Ah,
accountability is as far as like young children being in a room and an adult alone, whether there's consent or not from a parent. I'm just
There
trying to
must be
understand.
consent with parents, from
Yes.
the parent, and there must be assent from the child. Any information shared to the exclusion of safety to the child or others because of mandated reporting is private. It's private, it's protected like any other health information.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, and does anyone else have questions? Eric, no? You have no, okay. Okay, so I think I actually, sorry, I feel bad because the staff worked so hard to prepare these nice questions and then I totally end up going off script. But I think we covered in general most of the spirit of the questions that we were gonna ask. And so I think we're gonna conclude the portion with the administration, but I wanna emphasize now that we've actually heard the bills and, we've introduced them into the committee, now comes the fun part where we get to sort of go back and forth and discuss how we can make these potentially work. And so I personally look forward to having these conversations about how the implementation would work and how we can make sure that it is peer-led and youth-led, but also that there is some supervision when necessary, right? Sometimes youth prefer to do it on their own, which is, part of the clubs that they have. But I think it's always great when they have, at least, as you mentioned before, a supportive adult, even if they're not a mental health professional, to have someone who is supportive of these spaces. And so looking forward to having conversations about how to implement these types of peer services. So thank you so much. And we'll move on to the public testimony after this. Thank you. Okay, so I'm just going to read the little disclaimer. So I'm now opening up the hearing for public testimony, and I want to remind members of the public that this is a government proceeding and that decorum shall be observed at all times. As such, members of the public shall remain silent at all times. The witness table is reserved for people who wish to testify. No video recording or photography is allowed from the witness table. Further, members of the public may not present audio or video recordings as testimony, but may submit transcripts of such recordings to the Sergeant-at-Arms for inclusion in the hearing record. If you wish to speak at today's hearing, please make sure you fill out an appearance card if you have not done so already with the Sergeant-at-Arms and wait to be recognized. When recognized, you will have 2 minutes to speak on today's legislation, Introduction 986, 996, 989, and 1103. And if you could specify which one you're testifying on, that'll be helpful as well. And if you have written testimony or statement or additional written testimony you wish to submit for the record, please provide a copy of that testimony to the Sergeant-at-Arms. You may also email written testimony to testimony@council.nyc.gov within 72 hours of this hearing. I always emphasize that with people in case you forgot that we're having this hearing and still want to submit testimony, you have 72 hours. Audio and video recordings will not be accepted. Okay, so in person, we're going to start with our first panel. Okay, Amber Song from Asian American Federation, Adeline Zhao from Garden of Hope, and Bella Park from Korean American Family Service Center. So if you guys could approach the dais table. It's good to see all of you. So feel free to start whenever you're ready.
Is this on? Okay. Okay. Thank you, Committee Chair Linda Lee, for the opportunity to provide testimony. I'm Amber Song, Senior Program Coordinator at the Asian American Federation, and I'm testifying today in partnership with members of our Asian American Mental Health Roundtable. Tragedies like the murder of Christina Yuna Lee, Michelle Go, Wynn Rosario, and many others have left New York Asian communities reeling and fearful. Without the proper mental health and social support, our community, who already face barriers to accessing care like stigma, language access concerns, and high rates of poverty, are vulnerable to experiencing worsened mental health after violent and traumatic incidents. In fact, Asian Americans are less likely to get mental health treatment, with only 21% of Asian adults receiving mental health treatment when compared to other racial and ethnic groups, leaving our communities at risk until a crisis hits. While Introduction 1103 aims to connect affected communities to mental health resources, we have found that the needs of the Asian community are not met through this legislation. We urge that the City Council, as well as members of the relevant committees and city agencies, to consider the following recommendations. 1, ensure that the cultural and linguistic needs of the Asian community are met when resources are provided in the aftermath of a traumatic or violent incident by translating materials with cultural nuance and recommending mental health services that are culturally and linguistically compatible. 2, ensure the city and police department prioritize and work directly with Asian-led, Asian-serving CBOs, such as our roundtable partners, and provide adequate funding to do so, as DOHMH alone cannot provide the needed culturally and linguistically competent mental health and social service resources to the Asian community. And 3, ensure the city invests in Asian-led, Asian-serving CBOs so that they can continue to provide culturally competent and linguistically competent care by allocating flexible funding to build their capacity and services to retain and develop their workforce, to do outreach, and to continue to provide life-changing services to the Asian community. AAF will continue to do our part to meet the needs of the Asian community with our roundtable partners. Thank you for the opportunity to testify on this crucial matter.
Sorry, and we have the testimony that gives more detail on the actual bill, so
Yes.
Thank you for that. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Chair of the Committee and Council members. My name is Bella So-Young Park, bilingual counselor at the Korean American Family Service Center, where we serve immigrant survivors and victims of domestic violence and sexual assault. On behalf of KFSC, thank you for providing the opportunity to testify today as a member of the Asian American Federation's Asian American Mental Health Roundtable. We're here to bring attention to the critical mental health needs of New York City's Pan-Asian community as the city considers the passage of Introduction 1103. This bill has the potential to address long-standing mental health disparities in our communities, but only if the cultural and linguistic needs of Asian New Yorkers are intentionally prioritized throughout the implementation. New York's Asian communities face unique mental health challenges and barriers to accessing care due to stigma and cultural and language barriers. Asian-led, Asian-serving organizations like KFSC and our roundtable partners are essential to breaking down these barriers and bridging the gap between underserved Asian New Yorkers through culturally and linguistically competent mental health services. Yet too often, these organizations are expected to shoulder the burden of providing care without sufficient investment from the city. For example, many of our partners receive referrals from the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene without receiving the necessary funding to expand capacity. City agencies often lack the cultural competence to serve Asian communities effectively, turning instead to community-based organizations like us, KFSC. While we are proud to play this role, it is unsustainable without proper support and care. To ensure that Introduction 1103 delivers the intended benefits to Asian New Yorkers, the city must invest in Asian-led, Asian-serving CBOs from the outset. This investment will enable us to provide the culturally and linguistically competent mental health services that our communities desperately need. At KFSC, we have seen firsthand how culturally sensitive care can transform lives, providing holistic, culturally attuned support that empowers individuals to heal and thrive. In closing, we urge the city to adopt Introduction 1103 with a commitment to prioritize collaboration with Asian-led and Asian-serving organizations. The unique needs of New York's Asian communities demand nothing less. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Hello. Thank you to the members of committee for holding this hearing and giving us the opportunity to testify. My name is Adeline Zhao, and I serve as the mental health counselor at Garden of Hope, a nonprofit dedicated to serving adults, seniors, youth, and children affected by violence and providing culturally competent mental health services to Chinese communities. And I am here today as a member of AAF's Asian American Mental Health Roundtable to highlight the mental health challenges faced by Chinese immigrants in response to traumatic incidents. As the city considers the passage of Introduction 1103, it is vital to recognize the urgent need for culturally competent mental health support. Violent events leave lasting emotional scars, leading to anxiety, depression, and post-traumatic stress disorders. However, many in Chinese communities remain unaware of available resources due to stigma, language barriers, and the mistrust of institutions. And in fact, only 20.8% of Asian adults with mental illness received treatment in 2020. At Garden Hope, we've seen firsthand how culturally specific, language-accessible services make a difference. In 2023, we provided trauma recovery services to 1,071 adults and 317 children, with 94% of adult clients having limited English proficiency. Our team of 21 bilingual staff members delivers culturally competent mental health services that break down barriers and promote well-being. Trauma impacts individuals differently, depending on age, culture, and personal history. It is essential that mental health resources reflect the diversity. Counselors trained in trauma-informed care and cultural competency can provide a more effective response, particularly in multilingual contexts. The city must prioritize working with Asian-led, Asian-serving organizations, such as our roundtable partners, to ensure the cultural and the linguistic needs of Asian community are met through Introduction 1103. In conclusion, I urge community to prioritize investment in mental health outreach, expand access to trauma-specific counseling, and foster community partnerships that empower resilience. And together, I believe that we can mitigate the long-term impact of violence and foster hope and healing. Thank you.
Thank you all for the work you do in the community. I know each of your organizations very well. I just have a couple questions related to 1103 and your perspective as providers in the community. So, if there is a traumatic incident that happens in the community, Is there any sort of outreach done by DOHMH? I know that you all are usually in touch with the precincts because it involves some kind of report that happens, whether it's an incident in the home or something that happens within the community, but is there any coordination with you all plus DOHMH plus the public school system when it comes to addressing the youth, when it comes to these traumatic incidences? Or is that something where you all do it on your own through your after-school programming? If you could just speak, any of you can answer, but if you could speak to the coordination aspect.
Yeah, I can provide a brief explanation about that. My understanding is that we mainly kind of do it among ourselves, so that a lot of the crisis intervention would look like calling the police, unfortunately, even though that may involve a lot of traumatic incidents and experiences on behalf of clients. That is the fastest way to legally get a lot of the work done, especially for our organization as we serve with domestic violence cases and sexual assaults. So unfortunately, I think that's the realm that we're taking right now.
Okay, and then usually I feel like it's involving the parents, but then the youth sometimes are sort of the I don't want to say afterthought because that's not necessarily true, but it's often focused on the adults if there's like a DV between the partners. And so obviously that's going to have a very traumatic experience on the family, the children. And so for organizations like yours, I guess I'm just trying to get at what the sort of coordination is, because a lot of these bills that we're proposing, we want to make sure that the outreach also is being done from top down. I know that you guys are working on the ground, but I'm just curious about what the outreach looks like, if at all, with the Department of Health to you guys as providers working with the families.
I can also talk a little bit about like what our organization has done so far. So we do have the Children and Youth Program, and within the Children and Youth Program, we have a team of youth interns. And usually, what we have them do is we do collaboration with all of the schools that the youth are from, and we will go to the schools and talk about mental health and talk about how to respond to incidents, and to just do a little bit more like public psychoeducation on that matter. And that's like what we have been doing so far in terms of like collaboration with the school at that level.
Okay, that's good to know. Do you guys have questions at all for the panel? No? Okay. Okay, I think that's about it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, next we have, and please forgive my mispronunciation, Adante DaCosta, Cree Atkins Griffin, and Nasira Fair. Thank you all for being here. Feel free to go in whichever order, start whenever you guys are ready.
Just flip it. Oh, you can hear me. You can hear me? All right. Hello, my name is Dante DaCosta. I'm a senior at Manhattan Early.
Oh, wait, is the light on? Sorry.
You can hear me?
Is the light on? There you go. Perfect.
Better?
Yeah, oh yeah, okay, there we go. This.
Hello, my name is Adante DaCosta. I am a senior at Manhattan Early College School for Advertisement, and I'm also dual enrolled in BMCC. Imagine a world where the youth who need mental health support have it easily. And imagine a world where school feels safe because it's the only place that you know it cares for your mind, your spirit, and your body. Mental health professionals is crucial to the development of our minds. As teens, life comes at us fast. We are the generation that spent important years of our lives in the COVID-19 lockdown, then released back into the world without the tools we need to cope. We feel the pain of our parents, we feel the pain of the world, we also feel the pain of loss. In spite of all of this, we still expected to live up to succeed academically and to stay calm even though we are stressed. Because all of this, many of us hold all of our emotions back until we can't deal with the stress anymore and we have to release this. My friend was one of these kids whose emotions became too much to bear. He expressed thoughts of suicide and even attempt. We are lucky that we still have him here because he was unsuccessful. My friend is one of many teens who experienced thoughts of suicide in the New York public school system. What he needed was somebody to talk to, somebody who could help him to carry his pain. We need people to help us deal with stress. Many of our counselors are only focused on dealing with college, helping the seniors. But who is there to help with our mental health? Help us to build good habits for our emotional well-being. As teenagers, we see what's going on in the world. We see the climate disasters, war, and death on social media, gun violence in our own neighborhood, and our rights being taken away every single day. It is time that City Council invests in our education budget. To fund more schools, counselors, it is time to invest in our well-being. Thank you for hearing me.
Hi, my name is Kriakis Griffin. I'm 18 years old, and I am a senior who currently attends Repertory Company High School for Performing Arts, and I have experienced what it's like being a high schooler for the past 3-4 years because I am telling you it's very stressful, and it's hard to manage because I feel like the city neglect many schools, especially schools like mine, which is in District 2. But we are a current low-budget school that creates fundraisers and put on performances in order to raise money to keep our school going because we never had much material to keep us lifted despite maintaining 100% graduation rate and students who try to best maintain a positive school environment. But somehow the city still fails to present us with things needed like wellness centers, which are necessary in those schools because once you get to that stage of life in school, you feel stressed and you feel discouraged. And I've been through those stages many times, especially the year I'm in right now with colleges and staying on top of everything, graduation, all that stuff. Many of us, we don't have that much to talk to or express emotions or feelings. And there's a lot of kids who struggle to maintain their mental health because of the lack of social workers. And I recently lost a friend last year due to the lack of mental health because he didn't have no one to talk to. And it's not the first time I've been through someone who took their own life because of mental health and the lack of no help. So wellness centers are important, especially in the schools like Durga Marshall's Academy or AP and Randolph. Those are mainly our targets that we do. And then every student in school should have access to a person that they feel comfortable talking to and expressing their emotions and feelings to. As council members, I know you have hope or at least empathy in your heart to make this possible because it could be your kid struggling the same way I was struggling, and you could put a stop to it by funding wellness centers in our schools. Thank you.
Hi, thank you so much. So you just heard from 2 of our young people in our liberation program at the Brotherhood Sister Soul. I am a youth worker at the Brotherhood Sister Soul, and we'd like to thank you for the opportunity to testify today. For over 25 years, the Brotherhood Sister Soul has been at the forefront of social justice. We've been educating, organizing, and training to challenge inequity and champion opportunity for all. We have a focus on Black and Latinx youth. BROSIS is where young people claim their power with learning about their history, identity, and community to build the future that they want to see. BROSIS also provides around-the-clock support and wraparound programming, making space for Black and Latinx young people to examine our roots, define their stories, and awaken their legacy. All youth deserve safe, high-quality, holistic, and positively transformative educational experiences. If we believe in equity and want to create the futures all New Yorkers deserve, we must build within our schools systems of accountability, restorative justice, and behavioral management that do not include the NYPD and holistically support student success. Our vision for education in New York Public School includes safe, restorative, and healing environments where all students have the opportunity to learn and grow. To meet this goal, we must equitably resource New York City public schools and defund the tactics that push out marginalized students. We implore New York State and City elected officials to create a budget that prioritizes student mental health and puts New York public schools on a path to fund student-to-student support staff ratio of 1 to 100. Since I'm running out of time, I will say that we finish.
Don't worry.
We are hoping to, we're hoping to increase city and state funding, especially in using federal COVID relief funds. I'm trying to finish this up quickly. So instead of funding surveillance, the surveillance that we were talking about earlier, namely GoGuardian and other student surveillance systems that we've seen in schools, we implore City Council to invest in wellness clubs and wellness centers, services that we provide at Brotherhood Sister Soul that should really be provided within schools. Thank you.
Thank you. So really quick question. How many schools are you located in currently?
So the Brotherhood Sister Soul is actually a community-based org. We have a building on 143rd, West 143rd Street, yeah.
Okay, so they come to you, it's not that you're, okay, got it.
We also work with schools. We have chapters within schools. I don't work with a chapter. I think, how many chapters do you know? Oh.
Sorry, I'm an active member 4 years there. We have the Brotherhood members, we have us, the Liberation Program, we have Gaia, we have Sister Soul, we have the Wellness Club, and we have many different organizations.
Yeah.
It's a whole bunch, and
Yeah.
it's a place where they provide for mainly students of like color and Latinx who like feel like the school system have failed them, so they teach them like kind of, I don't want to say the right way, but they teach us history that we'll never learn, like abandoned history that they want to get rid of.
Yeah. So we work with multiple schools within the schools for the Brotherhood and Sister Soul chapters. Yes.
So real quick question for Adante and Cree. So when you were going through, I guess, the experiences and challenges with your friends that were experiencing suicidal thoughts or mental health issues, did you feel that, like, I guess my question is, were you able to talk to anyone in the school admin? Were they supportive? Was there sort of a natural just gathering that, you know, of group, like a kind of like the peer groups that we're talking about today? Was there sort of something naturally that happened there? Or did you face any challenges along the way or resistance? Just out of curiosity. Yeah.
For me and my friend and our guidance counselor, who is a licensed therapist, we all came up to him, say, let's talk about this, because one day he just texts all of us a note, like a suicide note. So we all came together and just have a conversation with him, say, I know you're going through this, but we here with you, and what your pain, which you going through, we going through with you, with you gone.
Thanks for sharing that. And I don't know if you wanted to add anything or, yeah.
Actually, that's a great question because it just reminded me, my freshman year, I did started an open ears club in my school because I go to school who are kids who go by non-binary or different sexual orientation, and they feel like they're not welcome. And so open ears, I was the founder of it, but I did stop it because I myself had a mental health crisis I had to deal with. So before I could help others, I had to learn how to help myself. But I am starting to open up open ears before I depart my high school years. It was mainly just where kids could come together, talk about their feelings, help each other, uplift each other, do small activities, just make each other feel welcome and appreciated and accepted, because acceptance is a huge thing and not a lot of people is granted of it. So I always wanted to make sure everybody had that type of acceptance.
I love that.
Can I add something small?
Sure.
They're also starting a wellness club in the Liberation Program at Community Heights Academy for Health. Sorry, CHA is the acronym. And they are a school with a high suspension rate, extremely high suspension rate. And so that we're partnered with that school now to start a wellness club.
And then did you have any barriers starting the clubs that you guys had in your schools? Challenges, yeah.
My biggest challenge was not having a lot of people, because I feel like some people are just afraid, or even some people are just lazy, and I feel like some people even feel like your voice not to be heard. Me personally, as an outspoken person, I feel like your voice should always be heard, because you should have feelings. Your opinions should matter to others too. People should know how you feel, because it's not fun being in that shadowed box, because I'm never a person who's in there, but I know people who have been in there. So it's like hearing your voice, it just makes me feel good, because it helps me understand better as a person. And like, I'm sorry, I don't know how to like put it, so yeah.
Did you have any challenges, Adante?
For me, my challenges when we would try and talk to a friend, my friend was actually try to get him sitting down and open up, mainly because we all have that ideology about this is my problem, I'm going through this, I had to fix this. But we said we all together. If what happened to you happened to me, what happened to all of us. So don't hide. Just try to express your emotion with all of us if you need help.
I think we've been hearing from young people also, and educators that we work with, that a lot of the challenge comes from the administration not being on board also, and looking to turn to suspension as the solution before engaging in any restorative approaches. And so it would be a lot easier to implement wellness clubs if it were more of a policy that every school had to have a wellness club, or to have a restorative justice approach before suspension became an option. What did you want to say?
Can I add in something actually about suspension? I have myself served a superintendent suspension, and it was more of I was out of school for 2 weeks. So I was missing out on a lot of work. I was emailing teachers to help me catch up, and unfortunately I wasn't able to do that. So it became a huge drop in my grade, and I feel like that's why we really need them wellness, is because as a kid like me who has served time for almost 2 weeks out of school, I feel like it's not fair that it's fair that I'm serving my consequence, but it's also not fair that I'm kind of also missing my education too, because I do go to school for one reason, and that is to learn.
Thank you so much. I just want to say thank you to all three of you for being here and for testifying and having that courage and vulnerability to do that in your schools, because it's not easy. So clearly you guys are natural born leaders in your own spaces, and I just hope that you all continue that. And if it's okay, I know I'm giving myself and my team more work. But I would love to follow up with you afterwards, because I'd be curious to hear what you guys have to say in looking at the materials that are currently being given out with this, and the school kits that we want to do with folks creating their own clubs, because I feel like you guys have done it, and I'm curious to just see what you all have done and what you do, as well as giving us feedback on what you think about what we're trying to do. Okay, so hopefully you don't mind if I reach out. Thank you. Okay, and next, yay, we have Fiona O'Grady and Kamari Cruz.
We magically
Already sit it, yes.
appeared.
Feel free to go ahead and start.
Good morning. My name is Fiona O'Grady, as you know, and I'm Director of Government Relations for Samaritans. For over 40 years, Samaritans has been a steadfast provider of suicide prevention services in New York City. Our 24-hour hotline is the cornerstone of this effort, offering the only anonymous and completely confidential crisis service to New Yorkers. At Samaritans, we believe that suicide prevention is everybody's business, and this philosophy includes peers. Peers are so often left out of the formal suicide prevention networks, yet they are frequently the first to recognize when someone is struggling. They are already trusted by their friends, removing one of the major barriers to accessing services, stigma, and fear of judgment. We know from research, including studies of hotlines like ours, that well-trained, non-clinical responders, such as volunteers or peers, are often actually more effective than clinical counterparts, and this is documented in providing immediate empathetic support during crisis calls. And this was done by a leading international, Brian Mishara, way back. This evidence underscores the potential of peer support frameworks. When peers are empowered with the right tools and knowledge, that they can provide critical life-saving interventions that are, as you say, complementary in ways that traditional clinical systems cannot. The urgency of this work is reflected in the data. Nearly 1 in 3 of our New York City high schools students reported persistent sadness or hopelessness 2023. Suicide is the 3rd leading cause of death among New Yorkers aged 15 to 24, DOHMH 2023. Vulnerable groups, including LGBTQ+, youth, and students of color, experience disproportionately high rates of suicide. And I'll just digress to say the young people who just spoke, they're talking about, you know, pain, and that is the essence of suicide, that suicide becomes an act that will solve your pain, and then you have risk factors and you have protective factors, but it's a maladaption cry for help. And when we have people who are non-judgmental, who are supportive, like a soft entry for youth, talking about suicide and using the word suicide does not make someone more suicidal. In fact, it recognizes the elephant in the room and it says, I hear you, you were suicidal and I'm okay to listen. And yes, they will have to do some kind of an assessment in terms of like, do you feel suicide? Do you have a plan? Do you have the means available? And do you have a time set? Now, this is a very nuanced thing. And it doesn't mean that the person who can feel suicidal, which many of us do as we know in life, you can have a feeling, but it doesn't mean just like you can have a cold, but you can still go to school, you can have flu, you can have pneumonia, you can have emphysema. It's the same, and so we have to be nuanced, but a soft entry is wonderful we think and we applaud you for your efforts. And I think also it is a pressure release valve. In other words, at training class, we think about a balloon where someone's in crisis or they're feeling really bad. The more air there is, the more probability of it bursting. Whereas if you have a pressure release valve, then you can handle the next trauma, you can handle the next thing. So speaking and being able to share your truth, and without judgment, and without also that, like, you know, in some cases, as we know, being transported or brought to hospital because you have not been assessed properly. We know from the studies of adults, at least, that after they come out of being forced to go to, you know, a hospital because of how they feel, can have trauma, which is studied for many. So we do have to be careful. You will have to do debriefing. But I believe that it's a wonderful step, and done carefully. We applaud you.
Hello, good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Kamari Cruz, and I am the Director of Education and Public Bereavement Services at Samaritans of New York, and I am here to express our strong support for peer-based mental health initiatives. We believe that they help to readdress and reshape some of the mental health support we have in schools and offers much needed relief to overburdened school staff. At Samaritans, we regularly work with and are currently actively working with school professionals through one-on-one consultations. We currently have one of our colleagues, Christina Muha, out in districts 19 and 28 right now, visiting schools and talking to school counselors and providing some of those vital resources for them to better help their own students within their own unique mental health needs. With these conversations, we're witnessing firsthand the extraordinary dedications of schools' mental health providers and educators who are doing their best to meet the needs of the growing demands placed on them. Unfortunately, the needs for services like these far exceeds the resources available, leaves some of the most valuable and skilled professionals struggling to address the full range of student challenges. Peer-based mental health initiatives offers a practical and impactful solution. We empower students to support one another and to help them embed care into the fabric of schools' communities. These programs help to reduce isolation, break down stigma, and allow students to seek and offer help in ways that feel safe and accessible. Peers are the first to notice changes in behaviors. Their emotional well-beings are noticed much faster than adults do. They are in a unique position to provide that first line of support and encouragement. These initiatives also serve as a valuable complement to professional help, extends the reach of the resources, and to alleviate some of the pressure on school staff. When students feel connected and supported by their peers, they're more likely to thrive, and school professionals can help to add on to the support for those that needs it most. At Samaritans, we always like to say that suicide prevention starts with me. Thank you for your dedication to supporting mental health and well-being for our city's youth and allowing me to share some of the work that we do.
Thank you so much. And of course, Fiona and Kamari, for all the work that you do. And I would love, as we start, going more into the weeds with the bills, I'd be curious to get your feedback on them as well. And you know, obviously, where to reach us. And so we always look forward to your partnership and input. So thank you for the work you do.
Very good. And I think I forgot to add that just look at referrals as well, because
Yes.
referrals are often about the person who's taking care of someone, because it feels good to give something sensible, and you think, whew, did that, But if you look at adults, I think it's up to maybe 80% of referrals are not actually followed through with. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, and I think that's my biggest question I always have with the city agencies.
I mean, it's
outward,
needed.
right? Is how are we tracking that? Is there a way to track it? Number one, are we tracking it? And then also, how is that handoff being given to you all as the providers on the ground? So, yeah, that's something that is a good point that we'll look out for. So, thank you. Okay, and next we have our last in-person panel. We have Marcel Bass from CACF, Braden Wan, also from CACF, Zane Tilley, and then Sharon Brown Jeter. So if you all could come up.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. As long as the red light is on, you're good.
Okay, good morning. First, I want to thank Chair Lee for allowing this conversation. My name is Braden Wynn, and I'm a senior at Bard High School or Early College in Manhattan. I'm also a youth advocate at the Asian American Student Advocacy Project Mental Health Campaign Team. ASAP is CACF's citywide youth leadership program. Before I joined ASAP, I had no idea what mental health meant. I had no clue what a social worker was, nor did I know we had one in school. I only started to understand how important mental health was when a friend started venting to me about their problems, but I still did not see how mental health connected to me. At first, I was embarrassed for not knowing, but soon I realized it is because schools don't embrace mental health care. Schools would have newsletters saying mental health is important, but never fully explain why. And it's not only that, when it comes to the importance of mental health, the actions of schools say otherwise. In schools, there is a heavy emphasis on academics. Teachers ask if we understand the content, guidance counselors ask what classes we want to take, and no one asks how we are feeling. This makes me feel unappreciated for who I am as if my grades only matter. As an AAPI student, I'm taught to keep my feelings to myself because it is personal. But after joining ASAP, I think otherwise. I have feelings about many things in life around what happens in our community. My friends do too. However, we don't really talk to each other about our feelings, and sometimes I'm not sure how to start the conversation around mental health wellness because schools focus so much on academics. As an AAPI student, I also do not feel a sense of belonging or a community at school. I want more than just cultural celebrations or cultural clubs. At ASAP, we want to make sure our schools can foster an environment where students feel safe and comfortable about who they are and where all students can feel seen and valued, While I think that a wellness club and toolkit are good ideas to start, I have several concerns. Without an understanding of AAPI community and history and inclusive curriculum, how can these toolkits be inclusive of all students? The model minority myth portrays many AAPI students as academic machines, and these stereotypes can only be resolved with systemic changes, including an inclusive curriculum. Additionally, I think privacy is also a concern when it comes to wellness clubs. I'm not sure if I would be able to trust others to understand my feelings and not judge them. Even with the mental health professional support, I'm not sure. Schools overall do not have or encourage a culture of care and understanding, so it feels ineffective to put that expectation only on a few club members rather than on the school system itself. The toolkits and peer-to-peer mental health programs put extra responsibilities on students and would only serve a small portion of the students across the city. We want to see systemic changes that would result in long-term impacts on the school environment. The mental health team at ASAP aims to address the root causes of mental health barriers and challenges AAPI students face. As of now, we want to see data on students and teacher demographics disaggregated because the AAPI community is so diverse. Without disaggregated data, how can schools see the needs of students? Without an inclusive curriculum and an increase in school social workers, we are still not ensuring all students can see themselves and have someone in school to talk to when they want to. We believe that the 3 introductions are a good start, but the city must do more. Thank you.
Hi, good morning. So first, I want to thank Chair Lee and for allowing this conversation. My name is Marcel, a junior at Union Square Academy for Health Sciences High School in Manhattan. I'm a youth advocate at the Asian American Student Advocacy Project Mental Health Campaign. I am Asian American, and the model minority myth has negatively impacted my experiences at schools. Peers and teachers expect me to have perfect grades, to be strong in all subjects, and expect me to look or act like how the media portrays Asian girls. I've been judged because I'm too exotic. I have been called racial slurs and expected to laugh at Asian jokes by peers which teachers choose to ignore. However, I am me, just like anyone else. I have my strengths and my weaknesses, and being tied to stereotypes and expectations have been damaging to my mental health. Regardless of our ethnicity, age, socioeconomic status, and other factors, all students, including AAPI students, deserve a learning space where their mental health is embraced and taken care of, and where schools are actively defining health to include our well-being and emotions. Schools need to make sure that we are not merely afterthoughts due to hurtful stereotypes, and schools must recognize that we are part of a vibrant future. To that end, as student advocates at ASAP, we have thoughts regarding the introduction of a mental health toolkit, peer-to-peer mental health training, and adding mental health professionals to create students in the mental health club. All 3 ideas are a good start because they create the space for students to explore and learn more about mental health, and for students to build empathy towards others. However, these cannot be the only solutions. To support all students' mental health in schools, we need long-term solutions and systemic changes. For example, I also felt school assemblies are not meaningful because of how none of them address the root causes of issues. They could also be vague that I'm not sure how much one is learning. In ASAP, my team brainstormed and compiled several lists of charts of what mental health means to us, and as of last week, we started thinking about the changes we would like to see. Barriers and challenges for us to talk about mental health are often systemic. For example, counselors and social workers don't understand our struggles as API students. We don't see ourselves in the curriculum, the teachers, and the implicit bias people have as a result of the model minority myth. None of these could be fully addressed with these 3 introductions we're discussing today. As API ASAP youth leaders, we have identified a few additional changes we would like to see. First, we need disaggregated data. The API community is not a monolith, and aggregated data doesn't show the needs of our students, like what languages they speak. With aggregated data, we can see or support diverse schools. To challenge and combat the model minority myth, we need an inclusive curriculum where everyone is able to learn API history and culture that is reflective of our community. Having an inclusive curriculum would also allow students to feel seen and included in our community. As youth advocates in ASAP, we are also ready to and willing to work with your office as ideas are being implemented. We are also happy to provide feedback on these introductions. We would like to also call in the City Council to come up with more creative ways to hire more API school social workers and help us get that disaggregated data implemented across city agencies to truly reflect the needs of our community. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Sharon Brown Jeter. My contribution to this hearing is, first I would like to say, remember Israel, defend Israel. We need the hostages released and let Yahweh's people go. Okay, as far as mental health is concerned, we can no longer have Islam as part of mental health and the Roman Catholic system as mental health. We see that it has failed. When people enter into the mental health system, they decline. There is no getting better in this mental health system. We have determined that the Bible is going to be mandatory in all facets of around the world. They are implementing using the Bible. The Bible speaks about the mind. It's the first book that was written that comprehensively speaks on how you are supposed to use your mind. We have a situation in the Bible where David pretended to be mentally ill to escape someone who was oppressive. So sometimes you will find things that are quote unquote mental illness signs when someone is being oppressed. There was also a disease that they made when slaves tried to leave. They said that they were mentally ill because they tried to flee from their captors. So we see even in present day and in the biblical times, when people were being oppressed, they would call them mentally ill. So we cannot have Islam in any of the school systems trying to tell people how to think when they are suicide bombers. Many of the doctors in the medical field are Islamic and Roman Catholic, and they believe in suicide. Okay. They teach people how to feel suicidal, and they impose upon them that they feel suicidal.
Okay, do you have any comments or questions on the bills that are being heard today?
I'm not speaking specifically concerning the bills. Okay. I'm just letting you know what we're doing, and we have implemented it in Oklahoma. The Bible was instituted throughout all of Oklahoma. All the schools will have the Bible. Okay. That's going to affect the mental health system there and here.
Okay, thank you so much, Sharon.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Good afternoon, Councilwoman. My name is Zayn Tilley. I'm the Youth Council Co-Coordinator for Advocacy at Degrees NYC. Degrees NYC is a data-informed collective impact movement co-led by young people and education professionals to move to equity in education in New York City under the umbrella of Goddard Riverside on the Upper West Side. You may be familiar. Today I will be addressing the mental health crisis affecting students and highlighting how the proposed legislation can support students effectively by aligning with the policy recommendations of our Degrees NYC Youth Council. To be frank, there is a mental health crisis across the city. It devastates students who are struggling with their mental health and are unable to access the resources and support they need in their schools. To illustrate, over 1/3 of the nation's young people have been diagnosed with depression in their lifetimes. More than 30% of high schoolers weathered mental health challenges during the pandemic, and 1 in 5 reported considering suicide. While the City Council has made progress on this issue, we need to go to its root. Since 2020, mental health has been a policy priority for Degrees NYC. Our recently published Student Ready Schools and Campuses report found that 71% of respondents expressed that their schools needed to offer more resources to meet their needs. 43% of interviewees reported that students face mental health challenges on campus due to rising violence, discrimination, and punitive actions by professors. Degree NYC's mission is to ensure that all New York City schools and campuses are student ready. Violence, discrimination, and punitive policies exacerbate these challenges, leaving students unsupported. To build a student-ready education system, we must invest in student well-being to help them thrive academically and personally. The Degrees NYC Youth Council supports several bills in this legislature. To be specific, we support Introduction 0989, calling on the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene to create mental health toolkits for student wellness clubs. We support this bill, but ask that these toolkits are made accessible, digestible, culturally competent, and multilingual. Excuse me, I'm just going to go for a little bit longer. We also support Introduction 986 and 996. Bill 986 aims to pilot a program pairing mental health professionals with school wellness clubs to lead discussions and workshops. And Introduction Bill 996 establishes a peer-to-peer mental health training program, equipping students to support their peers. We support both of these initiatives because they center youth voice, foster peer-to-peer connection, and develop student leadership skills while directly addressing mental health challenges the students are facing. Lastly, Introduction 1103 mandates that the police department notify the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene of violent events within 24 hours. We support this bill with the condition that it includes hiring mental health professionals to connect affected students to resources and provide personalized guidance throughout the referral process. This recommendation also aligns with the goals of experts in the field like the New York State School Counselor Association and the New York Association of School Psychologists, who advocate for collective care teams to be mandated in schools. Thank you for lending me your ears today, and thank you for your time. Degrees NYC is proud to support legislation like the ones presented in this testimony, that can contribute significantly to student readiness in our city's education system. Thank you again.
Thank you all, and I would just say I totally agree there needs to be more mental health professionals with diverse language capacity, which is why I encourage all the youth to think about going into social work, because it's a great field to enter into. We need more, we have to build the pipeline for sure. And as you know, I think the curriculum for both of you from CACF, I think is mentioned, that's something that we discussed at the on a panel separately with AAPI youth, and not just actually the AAPI youth, but from different communities, about how the curriculum also in the schools is a really important factor in just really educating our students, and also hopefully to build tolerance and just learning more about each other's cultures, right, and communities that we're coming from. So I thank all of you for your input, and we'll definitely take that back as feedback for sure when we're looking at the bills and your suggestions. And I love the fact that Degrees NYC is also with Goddard, right? And so, obviously we love the work that they do in the community as well. So thank you all for being here. Okay, so we will now move to Zoom testimony. So I'm going to call groups of 3 names at a time. So please wait for your name to be called to testify, and please select unmute when prompted. So the first 3 is Elizabeth Zemlensky, William Junn, and Leonie Hameson. And we'll start with Elizabeth.
You may begin.
Good afternoon. My name is Elizabeth Zemlensky, and I'm a current junior at the Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today. During the summer of 2023, I had the privilege of serving as a legislative intern at the New York City Council. One of my key projects was reviewing the city's mental health roadmap to recommend areas of improvement. As I delved into this work, my thoughts immediately turned to mental health initiatives for students, a cause deeply personal to me. Back in 2020, I founded my own mental health awareness club. This experience ignited a passion within me to empower every student in the New York City public schools to have the tools, resources, but most importantly, the encouragement to start similar initiatives. I'd like to share a brief version of my journey. In my sophomore year of high school, I lost a classmate to a tragic circumstance. Upon hearing the devastating news, students at my high school were struggling to cope with the loss of both a beloved classmate and friend. A few months after this tragedy, the pandemic began. Students who were still coping were now forced into lockdown, leaving us all defenseless in quarantine. So many of us wrestled with unanswered questions. If someone we all felt we knew well could disguise his fears and anguish so well, I could only imagine how many others were hiding. Starting a mental health awareness club was my only way to bring us together, and I wanted students to realize that there are people who can help them when they are feeling hopeless, and we as peers can be there for one another. Getting the club approved took fierce persistence. I received a lot of pushback from administration, but finally got through to the Board of Education. I had to present and answer technical questions, as well as find an advisor and school psychologist to agree to be present when necessary during meetings. Luckily, at the time, we had many intern school psychologists who were willing to help, and the club was finally approved to start in the next fall. After spending a lot of time promoting the club, we had an outstanding turnout of about 40 members, and hearing my peers talk about anxiety, isolation, and pressure initially stunned me. Our meetings consisted of guest speakers, workshops, informational activities, Jeopardy, coping strategies, therapeutic games, meditation, and yoga exercises. We always ended with a time for discussion where students could bring up anything that was on their mind. And today, I'm proud to say that the club still stands. I'm proud that the students of my high school continue this essential club, and I am excited to be back home for Thanksgiving so that I can attend a meeting myself. Through Student Wellness Club toolkits, peer-to-peer mental health training, and the involvement of aspiring mental health professionals in running these clubs, we can change the lives of students across all of New York City. Having a mental health awareness club is not just a place where students discuss their problems, it's a means of protection and prevention for all. It's a hope that the student body may have never thought existed. Thank you.
Thank you so much. William, whenever you're ready. Oh, sorry, Sergeant Earl.
You may begin.
Good afternoon, Chair Lee and council members. My name is William John, and I'm a senior staff attorney at your Lawyers for the Public Interest. Thank you for this opportunity to testify today. We support Intro 1103, requiring the police department to notify DOHMH of a violent or traumatic incident and connecting affected community members to mental health counseling. This is an important step in addressing the harm caused by police violence and ensuring that trauma survivors receive timely support. We also want to emphasize that this legislation shines a much-needed light on the police misconduct. Transparency and accountability in these incidents are crucial to rebuilding trust and ensuring justice. However, we urge the council not to stop here. Real prevention of police misconduct and violence requires more fundamental changes. Especially, we need to stop police violence and mental health crisis calls. We already know that peers and trained mental health professionals, not police officers, are best equipped to de-escalate crises and connect individuals to care. Unfortunately, the city's current programs, such as the Be Heard program, does not meet this goal. The Be Heard still authorizes extensive police involvement and is likely to continue the violent responses by the NYPD. For example, in fiscal year 2024, more than 70% of all mental health calls in the Be Heard pilot areas were still directed to the NYPD. The city must join other cities to remove police entirely from the equation. For example, CCIT NYC is a coalition of over 80 New York City organizations and has already developed such a proposal in which teams of trained peers and EMTs who are independent of the city government will respond to mental health crisis. We therefore urge the council to support a truly non-police, peer-led system in response to mental health crisis calls. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And next? Okay.
You may begin.
Thank you, Chair Lee, Chair Joseph, and other members of these committees. My name is Leonie Heemsen. I'm the co-chair of a national organization called the Parent Coalition for Student Privacy. On September 10th, along with the New York Civil Liberties Union and AI for Families, we sent a letter to the mayor, the Department of Education, and the Commissioner of Health, expressing our deep concerns with the way in which Talkspace allows for the sharing of its users' personal information with unnamed third parties for marketing purposes in a manner that would be illegal if the contract was signed by the DOE rather than the Department of Health. In our letter, we also pointed out that Talkspace has been criticized for its lax privacy policies by Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren and her colleagues, and also by users for delivering inconsistent and irresponsible services. Our letter was covered by the Daily News, Chalkbeat, and others. On September 23rd, the Department of Health responded, arguing that they did not have to abide by the state student privacy law since they were not an education agency, but assuring us that their contract was no less protective. Since we sent our initial letter, we discovered that when a New York City student visits the TeenSpace website on their phone, their personally identifiable information is automatically shared with 15 ad trackers and 30 cookies, as well as Facebook, Amazon, Meta, Google, and Microsoft, among others, which we saw from using the Blacklight privacy audit tool. These findings were later confirmed by a security company that does privacy analyses. We also learned that in California, a class action lawsuit has been filed against Talkspace, pointing out how the personal information of its clients is shared with TikTok, including the mental health information of minors. These findings are particularly concerning, given how the city is suing many of these same companies for undermining children's mental health and designing their platforms to be addictive to maximize their revenues. On October 16th, we sent a follow-up letter to the Department of Health asking for a meeting and for the Talkspace website to be immediately taken down until it is fixed to stop collecting and sharing children's personal information with ad trackers and social media
Thank you. Your time
companies.
expired.
Sorry, you can go ahead and finish up.
Okay, thank you. Today, I just checked again with the TeenSpace website and found that the website is still sharing personal information with 14 ad trackers, 30 third-party cookies, and numerous social media companies. Meanwhile, the Department of Health officials keep promising to meet with us, but they keep on putting off the meeting. We believe that they should cancel their contract with Talkspace and demand that they take their website down until all these unacceptable practices are halted. The need to support children's mental health is critical, but allowing their personal information to be shared and misused in this way risks further undermining it. Moreover, the TeenSpace example provides evidence of how the city should not be outsourcing these critical services to for-profit companies like Talkspace, and that the protection of student privacy must always be paramount. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today.
Thank you so much. So thank you all for your testimony, and I just want to call a few names to see if they are on the Zoom, because these folks are registered but not present. So we have Sharon Edwards, Paula Magnus, Sophia Glickman, Casey Starr, Jihei Fisher, and Miriam Keita. So if anyone is here, please raise your hands on the Zoom. If not, okay, so if not, then thank you to everyone who has testified. And if there is anyone present on the Zoom or Zoom that hasn't had the opportunity to testify, please raise your hand. And seeing that I don't think there's anyone else, I'd like to note that written testimony, which will be reviewed in full by committee staff, may be submitted to the record up to 72 hours after the close of this hearing by emailing it to testimony@council.nyc.gov. Thank you so much, and that concludes today's hearing. Thank you all.